Welcome to the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, the show that puts the spotlight on the incredible women who fuel the world of motorsports. From drivers to crew members, engineers to fans, and everyone in between, we're here to celebrate the trailblazers, dreamers, and doers shaping the sport we love. Each episode, we share inspiring stories of females of all ages from every corner of the motorsports universe, past, present, and future. It's a journey through the seasons of life filled with heartfelt moments, laughter, and a whole lot of horsepower. So whether you're a lifelong fan, a racer yourself, or simply curious about the extraordinary women behind the wheel, settle in, relax, and enjoy a fun and uplifting ride with us. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, connecting and celebrating women in motorsports, one story at a time. Let's hit the track. Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. And Jacque Herrera is my guest today. And Jacque, I want to welcome you to the show. I'm so glad we could connect and get together. So first, before we get started with the motorsports part, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Thank you for having me on the show today. I greatly appreciate it. Born and raised Chicago, grew up kind of in the Westtown neighborhood. Went to high school at Lincoln Park, and then eventually went to college, Michigan State, and had a few different jobs working for Scholastic Publishing House. I'm working in Washington, D.C., making my way back to Chicago in healthcare, and then venturing over to motorsports. I'm a married, but it's going to be 18 years. I had to think about that for a sec. And two teenage daughters.
Okay, awesome.
We live in the western suburbs, and our girls are in high school, so that's been fun navigating college tours and just different activities. They're very involved in sports, so don't have much free time.
No, there's never free time when you have kids in school and they're in sports and any of that. So they're not looking at Michigan State?
One of them is. The other's looking at U of M. So
okay. Oh, big
battle. Divided.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm a big Michigan State fan here. My son-in-law played baseball there for 4 years and graduated from there. And so,
I love to hear Michigan State stories. It was one of the best experiences.
That's great. Yeah, it's a good school, and U of M is too. So don't get me wrong, but you know, you have a little bit of a tie to Michigan State, then that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
So, Jacque, tell me, it sounds like you've had a lot of different, experience in the past. You went from healthcare to motorsports. That seems like a big jump. So tell me, how did that happen?
Sure. So I've always, throughout my career, I've worked in community relations, government relations. So when the opportunity for a director of community relations was on the Chicago street race website, I remember being at my parents' house and kind of the announcement came on. Julie Giese was on television. The mayor was on television. Carr Bachman was there, and Ben Kennedy, and they made the announcement. And my father, who's a diehard, lifelong NASCAR fan, jokingly is like, "Oh, just check to see if there's any positions available." So what I did, it popped up, and I was like, let me just go ahead and throw my resume in the ring and see kind of what happens. And I interviewed, and really was pretty seamless. Really did my interview and was offered a position a few months later.
Wow, that's fun. And Julie's awesome, isn't she?
Julie's amazing.
Oh
amazing.
My gosh.
I'm fortunate to kind of have worked with her the past 3 years and continue working with her, but she's just a great leader, not only for Chicago Street Race, just in all of NASCAR.
Yeah. I met her when she was in Phoenix, and my daughters live in Phoenix. And so honestly, that's the track I've been to more than any other track, because I go out to visit them and I try to time it during NASCAR, weekends. And of course the finale was always there. And so I got to know her and a couple other people on staff there. And I just love her. And then when she went to the Chicago street race, I kind of followed, and I've interviewed her a few times, and she is amazing as far as what she's able to pull off. No offense to the men, but I'm not sure they could have done what she did.
She's amazing, like you said, and to see kind of the Chicago street race come to life was just so impressive. Always looking up to her, just the way she moves and makes things very much a happy place to be working as well.
I'm sure I can see that would be the case. So you were hired on, you worked the Chicago street race, and I assume for the 3 years that it was there.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me, what exactly was your position? What did you do?
I was the director of community relations. So what that was is making sure that the community was aware that NASCAR was coming, that streets were going to be closed, that we had community initiatives going on throughout the city, being able to hit all 77 neighborhoods and all 50 wards, and just being present. And that basically tied into a lot of our marketing efforts with our street team. But this was really going door to door, kind of like you would during an election canvassing, except you're downtown, there's high-rise buildings. And we had support the city of Chicago, which was so helpful, and making pamphlets, having social media posts, and just making sure that we're out there, we're aware, having the presence, NASCAR in Chicago, working with different community organizations, working with Chicago Park District, After School Matters, the Boys and Girls Club. There's just so much great work that we did while I was there for the 3 years. It was really a blessing to be able to be in that position.
Well, and Jackie, growing up there and then coming back, you had to feel comfortable because you knew of a lot. I mean, like all the wards and the different things. That's something that a lot of cities don't have. And so you were aware of how the city was laid out, its structure, and then I'm sure felt comfortable, going and visiting those areas because you were one of them. You were a Chicagoland person.
Right? Exactly. I was political science major, so that helped too.
Yeah.
But being able to go and be comfortable in my own city, walking downtown, which I was very familiar with, walking around and driving around the different neighborhoods. Some of the people that I grew up with are in these positions working for these community organizations. I was a Chicago Park District kid. I was a Chicago Public Schools kid. So being able to kind of give back in that sense and have these events and these initiatives put on by NASCAR and supported financially by NASCAR was amazing, because I was once in those seats or those shoes of those kids, and then making friends, lifelong friends, just through relationships that were formed during my time there. It's great. Chicago's so near and dear to my heart. I love it. My family still lives there. I still have family here in Joliet. So it's been a good mix. I live in the middle, so it's, halfway there, halfway downtown.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, the street race had some bumps in the road that first year, mainly the weather. And so, it just goes to show you can plan for everything, but there's things you can't control. So what do you think was the hardest thing that first year that you and the team really went through? Regardless, we know the weather, that's nothing you can do anything about, but was it difficult? Did people, were they receptive to NASCAR coming to Chicago? If their street was going to be closed, were they not happy? How did that all go?
I would say people, more than not being happy, they were just curious to see what was going to happen because this hadn't been done in downtown Chicago, closing those streets. Yes, there are festivals, but this was just something completely different. So I'm sure they were concerned, but I think once it happened, they were probably like, this is an amazing event. Mm-hmm. Or at least that's my hope, that they thought that this is an amazing event. And we heard that from a lot of the neighbors and the constituents in the area is, yes, we know we can't win everyone's heart, but some people were just more concerned about property damage but nothing was really damaged whatsoever. And once I had gone up to like a few different areas around the buildings that I was canvassing, and once you're in the lobby, you couldn't really hear anything of the building. So it was a happy kind of medium that we came to. We did go into different buildings as well and listen to the concerns that a lot of the residents had. And some of those residents actually purchased tickets to come out to the race. So as I'm walking kind of the footprint in Grant Park, it was nice to say hi to someone that lived in this building, kind of like on this street. And I had a team with me with the City of Chicago colleges. So the city colleges of Chicago, and they were basically my street team, my ambassadors that were going out and helping me canvass the area. So people recognized us when we were walking and would ask questions, and we were able to be knowledgeable enough to answer them for everyone.
Yeah. And that's, I think just from what I've heard, and I have a cousin that lives in a 54th floor of a condo that overlooks Navy Pier. So he's, and I said, I talked to him about it before it happened. He said, oh, a lot of people probably just will stay home and look out their window or whatever. And he said, we're not going to hear it up here in their condo. And they were concerned anyway. And I laughed and I said, oh, what I would do if I was you is I would go somewhere that weekend and rent out your condo to somebody who wants to. And we laughed about it, but there will be people that do that probably. So, somebody that lives close enough, you could look out or you could stay there and walk to the race. And I said, so there could be some extra benefits for some of those people that live there. But yeah,
I agreed. A lot of people hosted watch parties as well. So they were entertaining their guests and overlooking Grant Park. So that was nice to hear.
Yeah, I can see that happening because Chicagoans, like a lot of other big cities, they love their events. They love their reasons to hold a party. And so that's fun to hear that for sure.
It's nice to entertain and be like, look out my window.
I know. The very first time I ever went to Bill and Karen's condo, it was many years ago, and it was the 4th of July weekend, and it was the air show. And so 54th floor, you're looking out at the airplane, not up at the airplane, right? And the airplane was spewing fireworks and all kinds of stuff. And it was just freaking amazing. And, you would never think about that kind of an event. But the same with, the NASCAR, those things that are right there. You can walk down and go out your lobby and you're there at the race. That's pretty cool.
It really is.
Yeah. So tell me now, you're at Chicagoland Speedway. We know we did the street race for 3 years, very successful as far as I can tell. Now we're at Chicagoland Speedway, which was closed for a while. Tell me about that journey.
Yes. So after the Chicago street race hitting pause, if you will, racing this summer, July 3rd, 4th, and 5th, which is that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4th of July weekend. And we will be back at Chicagoland Speedway. We haven't raced here in a few years, but we are happy to return. This was by popular fan demand that we're returning. So it's good to be able to bring racing back to the Joliet area. It's about, I would say, give or take 45 minutes to an hour drive south of the city. So we're encouraging everyone to come out, see what it's like to attend a race at an actual track, as opposed to being kind of downtown Chicago where you're surrounded by a lot of the skyscrapers.
Yeah.
So there's two different experiences.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, to go to Joliet, so the parking's better,
Yes. There's plenty of free parking. Yes.
All those things, and like you said, it's a totally different experience. When you're watching a street race, depending where you are, you're just going to see a portion of it. When you're at Chicagoland, depending where you're sitting, you're going to see the whole thing. And that's so different to be able to watch, because my favorite driver might be in 10th place and I can watch him, but on TV, they're showing the front usually. And so encourage people to go. And if they've been to the street race though, maybe they've become a NASCAR fan. And so now they're like, oh, this is not far to go. And you're gonna get all those people from Southern Illinois, Indiana, Michigan. They're not as comfortable driving into downtown Chicago, parking, all those things for a race, whereas they can go to Joliet and feel like it's any other racetrack that they've been to. It's much more comfortable to go to.
And that's what I've heard. I've heard both. People want to experience going to the city, but I've also heard people that want to say they want to be at an actual track. They want to be around the campers as well. So we do have camping for the event. They also want to, I always say it's like all your senses are heightened when you come to a NASCAR race. Yes. Because it's the smell, it's the roaring of the engine, it's the family feel that you have when you're here. It's nice to see everyone kind of in their merchandise. Some of it's vintage merchandise from drivers past, some of it's newer merchandise, and it's multi-generational.
Yes.
So it's very nice to see. And we hope that everyone comes out here, celebrates with us NASCAR style. And we're also commemorating America's 250th this summer or this year. So come celebrate with us.
Yeah. And won't Chicagoland be, is it the week after or a couple weeks after when they're in San Diego?
Yes, it's a few weeks after. Yes.
A few weeks after. And so, that's an exciting thing to be happening. But I think that the excitement and the interest is just going to carry forward the rest of the summer because they're doing some fun things this summer. So now, what have you got planned? Anything you can share? Like, are you having any concerts? What have you got planned special besides the race? We know the race is the draw, but what else?
It's always good. There will be some entertainment. So I would tell everyone to follow us on social media. Okay. Things will be coming out in the next coming weeks. Very, very soon. I will say that. And check out our website, chicagolandspeedway.com. There's ticket information, there's camping information, there'll be entertainment information, and that's updated kind of on a daily basis so that we can go ahead and keep the fans well informed.
Yeah. And about how many does Chicagoland hold for attendance?
So about 44,000.
Okay, so good crowd. Yeah, for sure. And then you've always got the campers who've got their big TVs and they're going to party in the campground during the race. And they don't even go into the race, but they are enjoying because you still have the sights, the sounds, the smells, but you're at your camping spot. And we know that is a lot of fun too. And so
it is.
Yeah. Either way to enjoy Chicagoland. I was sharing with you a little earlier that I was there in 2000, I want to say 18. I'm pretty sure 17 or 18. And oh my gosh, Jackie, it was 100 degrees. And of course the asphalt and the concrete that you're walking on, and I was in the pit area for part of that race and it was super hot there, but some really fun things that happened there. I met Dale Earnhardt Jr. And
that's always amazing.
That was so cool. And the little girl that was with me, she was 10 at the time. She actually interviewed him. I have it on videotape. It's so darn cute. And then, it was so hot. My favorite driver was Kyle Busch, and it was looking like it was going to storm. And so I thought, and he wasn't doing very well. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to head home because I live in Kalamazoo, Michigan. So I'm a couple hours from there. So I thought, well, it's going to storm and that. He was way at the back. I'm just going to go. I'll be darned if he didn't win the race. I was so mad. I'm mad at myself. So I have a lot of memories from being at Chicagoland, but it's a great facility. So
it really is.
It is. What have they had to do though? It's been sitting empty basically. What have you had to do to get it ready to go, or any upgrades that are happening?
Our team, led by Colette Nelson here, has done an incredible job of maintaining the facility. It's really a few updates here and there, but not much. The track is in great condition. The facility itself is in great condition. Yes, some landscaping will be done, and pretty much we're good to go.
That's awesome, because you just wonder, when it's sitting empty, I realized that they were maintaining it, but you just never know,
Right.
what can need some upgrades. So that makes it easier, that doesn't it, then to get that race
really
back
does.
there.
Really does. And just kudos to Colette and her team for kind of maintaining it, like you said, and just making sure that it's in great condition so that we can provide a great experience for our fans this summer.
Yeah, for sure. So tickets are on the website.
Tickets, you can find them at chicagolandspeedway.com. We are racing Friday at 7 p.m., Saturday at 4:30, and Sunday at 5 p.m.
Oh, that's good, because it's a little cooler in the day.
Right, right.
None of that 1 p.m. business when it's the hottest part of the day in Chicago, and the humidity.
It's a very family-friendly event. We have fan zones. There'll be different activations by our sponsors. There'll be some drivers speaking at different vendor locations and tents. And then also we just have the Lego zone. So it's a designated area, and it's very kid friendly. So that's a big thing. I remember coming as a kid, if you will, and it's always nice when I go to other tracks to see families. That's a big thing for me, being a mom as well. It's like you want your kids to experience this. You want them to have a great time. And sometimes you can't find a sitter, especially on a holiday weekend.
Exactly.
So it's always good to have your kids kind of even experience their first race. And so keeping them entertained is always good. Besides the actual race, there's other things for the kids to enjoy.
Yeah. And I think NASCAR, the tracks all do a pretty good job of that. I mean, I know Phoenix like I said, more than any other track, and they do a really good job of that. And a lot of times, and I don't know how this weekend's going to be, but sometimes like for the truck race, kids get in free or however, and so it's like, there's no reason not to do it.
Yes. And we have that offer as well. So kids are free on Friday and Saturday and 50% off on Sunday.
Right.
So we try to make it affordable for a family to come out.
Yeah. And, honestly, the ticket prices are not out of reach for families. I don't think. I always said what NASCAR needs to buy next is a chain of hotels, because that's then they could make the hotel prices a little bit more affordable for families, because we know that's what really costs. Like if I wanted to go to even Daytona or somewhere, it's not the race tickets that cost. It's the staying all night. And so, yeah, NASCAR needs to buy a chain of Best Westerns or something.
Or just come for the weekend camp.
Yeah, come for the weekend and camp. There you go. So, and you know what? That's more fun anyway. So, yeah. So good. What are some things that you want to make sure people know? Maybe not just about Chicagoland, but about NASCAR and we're women involved in NASCAR. I always like to find out if you think that that's a good sport for women to be involved in. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure. I think it's a wonderful sport to be involved in, especially without any prior motorsport experience. I have been welcomed with open arms. I have been able to meet with basically anyone that I was curious to meet with. I've had guidance and support from other general managers and track presidents, as well as kind of the higher ups in NASCAR, which is very, very important to me. And being able to have that balance between my personal life and my professional life is important. And I find that here. And my kids love it. By default, of course, my kids are NASCAR fans, which makes my father very, very happy.
I'm sure. I was going to ask you if your girls were interested in motorsports.
They really are. I was out in Daytona and I kept getting text messages and calls, but I couldn't hear because I was near the track from my girls. And they're like, well, we didn't see you next to Miranda Lambert when she was performing. And my dad as well called. And then another text message, take pictures of the merchandise. When are you bringing us back? So it's always...
Those are all...
make sure they get their little souvenir.
Right. And especially girls, they want their stuff, don't they?
Yes. Yeah, and
sure.
know drivers' names and they encourage their friends to watch. Typically, especially my little one, she's more, I wouldn't say she's more of a fan, but she is more knowledgeable about the
Okay.
names of the drivers and kind of what certain things mean. She'll look it up online. My older one just likes to watch the race and
Okay.
come out to the race and enjoy it. My little one really gets into kind of the weeds about things. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
nice
good.
to kind of have that discussion with her. And then when we're visiting my father, he's like, "Oh, I'm impressed you know. I'm impressed you know. Good job."
Yeah. So does he have a favorite driver?
So growing up, it was always Jeff Gordon or
I knew
Tony
you were going to
Stewart,
say
right?
that.
So when I just told the story yesterday, when I met Jeff Gordon last year, I took a picture with him, sent it to my dad, and he was like, "That's so cool." Of course, he always says, "Where's my invite? Where's my invite to everything?"
That's
But it's really nice just to see how proud he is of me, to see me come up to this position, to come out to Joliet. So as a kid, I took the train from the Board of Trade downtown because my aunt worked near there, and she would bring my sister and I over to downtown or to Joliet from downtown. So we thought it was the coolest thing, taking the train downtown Joliet. Her husband, my uncle, would pick us up, and then we'd go surprise my cousin, who was an only child, and be like, "Surprise, your cousins from Chicago are here." And then I have an aunt who lived directly across the street from that aunt. So those were like my boy cousins that we were able to kind of hang out with. And that was before the development of their subdivision. So there was a few houses. We knew everyone. I was just over there on Saturday for my aunt's birthday party. And as I'm pulling up, her neighbor who's kitty corner from her had a big NASCAR flag. And then below that was a Kyle Larson flag. So I took a photo and I sent it to my dad. I was like, "Look, Joliet's ready for us."
Yeah. Oh, and that's the thing. Going back to the Chicago street race, I think the team did an amazing job of letting people know it was coming not only to Chicago, but to the area. Like even here in Michigan, I'm 2 hours away, but there was a lot of interest and a lot of promotion. Even at the local tracks, they'd be like, "No, we're not racing next weekend. It's the Chicago street race." And, because they wanted people to be able to go, which is also what they do the weekend of the Michigan race. A lot of times they don't race that weekend to allow people to go to the NASCAR race, which I think is, pretty big on their part. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
And Michigan,
go ahead.
Joe and his team, they do a phenomenal job with the race there. And I mean, the work that we've done here in Chicago, the work that's being done in Kansas at the track and Iowa, like you mentioned, Phoenix, Latasha does a great job and her team. So I think all across NASCAR, everyone does a phenomenal job of kind of making sure that we put on a good experience for our fans. And that's the racing, that's the food, that's the merchandise, that's the camaraderie that you see amongst everyone. And it's very unique, like to the area as well. So every track is very unique, which I love.
It really is. And I haven't been to a race in Iowa, but I've been by the track a few times as I'm going here or there. And I love where it's at. It's out in the middle of, it's right off the highway, but it's out in the middle of the cornfields and that. And it's such an Iowa experience. And so then you go to Phoenix and it's the mountains are there. And,
right.
And so every track kind of has its landscape, if you will, that is part of where it's located. And that's pretty cool. I think you're going to have a surprisingly full house for Chicagoland race.
So.
It's a holiday weekend. I'm assuming there's going to be fireworks.
So more to come. The city of Joliet is going to have fireworks as well. And then they're also going to have something that was done in previous years called Race Fan Rally. Basically like block parties, if you will, leading up to the race. So encouraging a lot of folks to come out, there'll be some neat different things, some vendors, some musical entertainment as well.
Okay. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It is. Yeah. It's going to be a great week. Not only the weekend, but it's going to be a great week.
Yes, and it's my wedding anniversary week, so that might be what we're going to have to do.
You're going to have to come join us over here.
I know. I'm going to have to twist my husband's arm a little bit. He is a race fan, but not as much as I am. But he, he does enjoy it. The heat is what he doesn't enjoy. So but it's our anniversary after all.
Yes, we can get him one of those little handheld cooling fans.
There you go. That's
for
exactly.
the moist towels.
We've done that in the past. So he's a good sport about going and doing all of that. Excuse me. So Jackie, what have we not talked about that you want to be sure that we share with the listeners about the race and the weekend or anything at all?
Well, we covered tickets. We do have ticket offers as well. So we have ticket offers for groups. We have ticket offers for military. We have ticket offers for first responders, for teachers. So I encourage everyone to check out our website for those ticket offers and additional information. We have camping. We have some entertainment that's going to be happening. We have world-class racing, which is kind of the best thing ever. And we have Illinois. Illinois is a great state. If you haven't been, I encourage everyone to kind of take a road trip. It's the Route 66 Centennial too. So there'll be different things along that route. If people are interested and curious, there's an actual museum here in Joliet. There's things to do and there's local businesses. There's some entertainment locally. There's Chicago that's an hour away.
Good restaurants too.
Yes, great restaurants. There's the best of everything here. So if the fans are up to it and they're out of state or need to travel a little to get here, please come join us. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I'm going to have to put that on my calendar now. Now that I know the details. So that's all great. So Jackie, I appreciate you being with me. Any last thoughts before we go?
Yes. Thank you to the fans for bringing us back. We are very, very excited to come back, put on some phenomenal racing. Our drivers are excited. Our teams are excited. The community is excited. So hopefully that encourages everyone to be a little curious and say, hey, let me just go ahead and purchase tickets, come out, have a great time, and celebrate the 4th of July NASCAR style.
I agree. 100%, 110% for sure. Well, Jackie, if you want to hang on just a second, I'll stop the recording and then we'll have a little chat. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode of the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. We hope you've been inspired by the stories I shared today and feel more connected to the amazing community of women in motorsports. Remember, whether you're behind the wheel, in the pits, or cheering from the stands, your story matters. And together, we're driving change and celebrating every milestone. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who loves motorsports as much as you do. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and more incredible stories. So until next time, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep racing through life. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, where every woman's story is worth celebrating.